So I moved back to Jaipur about 9 years ago. I was in Toronto before that. And the one thing I realized very quickly living in Jaipur was there were very few places where I would like to go out to eat. Like for me, right? Not just when I'm heading out in the weekend to meet friends or whatever, but just like actually, you know, like a meal I would really enjoy having. And I felt that maybe there were other people like me who had those same issues. You know, the food options and quality in Jaipur was somewhat limited. You know, certain food is really good in Jaipur, but especially the type of food I like to eat, Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, Italian, and that sort of food was somewhat limited in most places are the same basic menus and all regurgitated and copying off of each other. And there was a distinct lack of authenticity and quality in that. So I've dabbled in the kitchen on and off most of my life. I learned to cook from my mother. My mother is a very instinctive, gifted cook. And we lived around the world, so we were fortunate enough to live in Israel, live in Toronto, live in Rome. So I've had experience with food. So doing that, I realized, that maybe this is something I should be doing. So it started off and still remains somewhat of a passion project. We cook everything ourselves. That means me, my wife, my mom, with some help from our trusty stalwarts. The idea is to cook everything to order, fresh, so there's no wastage, and that allows us to use a higher quality of ingredient because we're not worried about overheads as much. I only go shopping for produce and raw ingredients once I get the order. So that allows us to not have to pull anything out of the fridge, out of the freezer, and also make sure that what you're receiving is made to the highest standards. So we did that. Then we set up, the usual Facebook page and Instagram page. Almost all of our marketing is done word of mouth. There is an Instagram page, and we do keep posting stuff there. But we rely on customers to spread the word amongst their friends and their families, and we keep doing stuff like this, right? We do JLF, we do the farmers market at the Clark Samir. We've had our products featured at the Air Toast at the Jaipur International Airport, at Tapri. So we keep finding partnerships that work for us, or events that work for us where we can go and not just let people taste what we're doing, but also explain to them why we're doing what we're doing and the basis for it, how we do it. So that's been going on. And we've had good traction. There are some constraints because we don't use preservatives and we do everything to order. But we're trying to figure out, finding more shelf-stable product. One of the places where we've had success is cookies and biscotti. Last year for Diwali, I sent out about 100 kilos of biscotti between Udaipur, Delhi, Bombay, Ahmedabad. We handmade all of those. I had the calluses to prove it at one point, because making 100 kilos of biscotti by hand is not easy. So we have found some shelf-stable product which we can send beyond Jaipur. So we're looking to expand those while at the same time still doing stuff that is preservative-free, that is high quality, where we're not compromising on ingredient quality or ingredient cost.
So, doing all this, you must have got some lessons about, marketing and what people like, what people don't along the way. What would you tell, some advice you would give to a younger you? If you knew all that you knew today when you started?
Learn how to use Instagram. I probably just missed the Instagram generation by a little bit. Like, I was a little bit older, that it's not first nature to me. But yeah, really learn how to use Instagram, learn how to be able to piggyback off other people, tagging your stuff, that kind of things. I'm not great at it, my wife's better at it, so we sort of, lean on her expertise, and we have some friends and, who are good with this kind of things. So we do that. Believe in your product. If you don't believe in the product, the customer will see right through you. You need to believe in what you're selling. You may be able to make a quick buck pushing something that doesn't have a lot of value, that you don't believe in for the first little while, but you can't keep fooling people over and over again. So believe in your product, make sure your product is worth it, and then at the same time, value your labor, value your time, and value your product. Do not understand what segment you're appealing to, understand what the value of your product is, and maintain that. I have a no discount policy because I believe in what my product is. I believe that there is a certain cost to my labor and my skill and the time I've spent to develop that. So I don't offer discounts because it is what it is. And if you value my labor and you value my product and you value my time, then you will pay that. And if you don't want to, that's fine. There's no hard feelings. But the costing we came up with is not, it's based on certain basic factors. So I'm not trying using a multiplier so that I can then bring it back down and feel like you got a good deal. That's not the idea here. It's priced based on what's gone into it. So that's where we are.
And anything that a person, like you would advise a person not to do?
If you're doing something because you believe in it, understand that you will fail, understand that things will go wrong, you will make mistakes, that's unavoidable. You don't have all the answers, and the market will not react the way you expect it to your product. You will have to change and try and adapt, and that'll be sometimes easier, sometimes it'll be harder. And also depends on what you're trying to sell, what you're trying to do. But those can be very line specific. So there's no one catch up, but do not be afraid to fail and understand that at times you will lose money trying new things. You will have to, there's no business which is a guaranteed success, and there's no business where you will always make a profit in everything you do. There will be times where you will lose money on things, and that's fine as long as you understand what you got out of that experience and to apply that the next time.
Last question, how difficult or easy it is to set up a business in India? They keep talking about the number of permits you need, the kind of, restaurant or the food business is...
So it's not super easy. In the sense that, right, like I need an FSSAI license. I have to get that. You have to get a shop permit. You have to get, so there are, especially in the food space, because there's a safety issue, and I understand that, right? So like you don't want anybody just cooking out of their kitchen and selling it without knowing where it's coming from. So food safety is very important. You can fall very sick, especially in our drastic weather, climatic conditions. It gets really hot. Food can go really bad very quickly. Yeah. So I completely appreciate that. For me, frankly, the bigger issue is accounting work and tax work. I struggle with those things anyway, so having to add that, I want to be in the kitchen. I don't want to be dealing with, very frankly, tax work or accounting work. So I have a very clear instruction to my CA, I don't care if you can save me an extra 3% by juggling things around. Just keep it as clean, as easy as possible, so that I give you the data and you feed it, and we sit down, go through it, and then I can just sign off on it. I don't need you to, the goal should not be to try and make money by finding tax loopholes or doing all sorts of creative accounting. It's just make a good product, get people to understand the product, believe in the product, buy the product, you make money. Don't think that the way to make money is by doing complicated financial transactions and loopholes and you're parking money here, you're parking money there. It's not going to work. It's far more effort than it's worth in the end. Spend your creative energy and your brain power where you feel happy and be doing what you want to do. I'm sure not many people who are running a business on their own want to spend their time worrying about how do I cheat the government out of 2%, or how do I figure out a way to get pay the taxman less. That's not where you want to be spending your brain power.
Thank you.